Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hi. Whoops, where am I? There I am.
Sorry, I think I accidentally didn't have your camera. The settings were not to have camera on, so apologies. So you'll need to turn your camera on if you want to.
Really? Okay.
You're on now, so you're good.
Oh, okay.
Just, I think everybody else will have to turn on their camera.
This is Hibba's playlist. All right.
Nice dancing, David.
I love this song. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that hat. That's impressive.
What is that red hat, David? I missed it. Okay, good. Yeah, don't bring that. Don't bring the red hat out. That's scary. That was Maya and Meredith. Hello.
Hi there.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm getting to know y'all's backgrounds. You know, Maya, that room is it looks really familiar. And then Meredith goes out of her way to have a different place every time when she calls in, it seems like.
I mean, I have exactly 2 places, but and Maya's just always at her desk. Always.
Oh, there you go. Always working, huh?
Always working. Although I did change one of these paintings. You can't really see it here. One of my kids took a painting class this summer and made me this beautiful still life that is now behind me. It's actually up now with a different piece of art that she also did, but it's hard to see. But
show us, yeah.
A gift.
She also did a beautiful portrait of Maya.
She did.
Wow.
Oh
my goodness. How old is she?
She's 13.
Wow.
Very artistic, amazing kid. She also does stage makeup.
Oh my goodness.
Terrifying. I'll just say that's horrifying, but amazing.
Comes with warnings.
Yeah.
But you'll notice it's beside Maya's map of like Fairfax County and district breakdowns.
That's good. It's a good like balance right there. Way to go.
This is my workspace, so.
Awesome. Good to see you all. We got some brand new faces here. Some folks this is their first community meeting. I'm not going to tell them just yet. Maybe you'll meet them later. Welcome, everybody.
Hi there.
Hi, Carrie George.
Hi, Mary Stevens. I was just about to type you a private chat to say hello. So hi to everyone else too.
Yes, great to see you.
Yeah, how many people here know Carrie George? Because Carrie George is like see, look at this. There's like the Carrie George network is strong at CP.
Mm.
I think we should pay you for every person that you bring in, huh? No?
Yeah, I think, I'm guessing Anita brought in Mary because Mary is in Maine.
Oh,
Actually, I don't remember where I heard about Common Power, but I went to one of the early meetings when it was in the community center, or more than one early meeting.
okay.
And
okay.
then I hooked up with Maine after that.
But
Okay.
you also went to Florida, because I remember
Yep,
registering folks in Florida with you.
yep. I went to Florida. Yep. And Charles, like you saw me in Maine. You don't remember me?
I did, and you don't live in Maine. You live south of there. You drove like through other states to get there, just to do that, knocking on doors with us in Maine. That was awesome.
Yeah, I live in Connecticut.
Oh, those
That's
are
right.
little states there.
What's
Yeah,
that?
all those tiny states. Oh,
Yeah, that's why Virginia is so, appealing, because I can take the train or drive. I mean, it's close.
Mhm.
Yeah.
look at this. Mary's selling Virginia already. Mary,
Yeah.
let's put her on the agenda for later. That's perfect. Good segue.
Okay, I know this is a Virginia night, but I'm recruiting for Wisconsin too.
Always. Well, welcome everybody. We're going to get started here. We already got started. We're talking about 2 states already, Virginia and Wisconsin. One of them we're going to highlight today. The other one is kind of an evergreen highlight, because I used to be the state captain there, and Carrie's holding the flag now, and we brought Hiba in from Wisconsin. So like Wisconsin's like the second Seattle almost. Maya, Meredith, you can be special Virginia all by yourselves. Y'all are doing awesome things there. We're going to hear about in just a second here. So we're gonna jump in, and every single one of these meetings now, because we're smart enough to hire talented people, have got like the Maggie touch to them. So at the very beginning, we're going to tell you exactly what we're going to talk about, and then we're going to stick to it. You know how? Because people are going to move these slides even when I'm not done talking, or I'm going to get muted or something crazy like that's going to happen, just to make sure that we touch all the right points. So first up is what we're going to talk about. The agenda, right, Maggie? Okay. So you're going to hear a voting rights update from David. David was not at our last monthly community meeting, and I think we had half as many people come. I don't know, David, if you told people you weren't going to be there or something, but it just wasn't the same without you, man. So we're going to let you kick it off this time. Also, what's happening in the national political landscape is on everyone's mind. It's on the news every day. It's a big deal. And while we are shifting our focus towards the electoral stuff, that's our bread and butter, we are not leaving sight of what's going on nationally, especially in DC. So David's got a piece of that. New Virginia majority, obviously Maya and Meredith, and Maya's awesome artwork in the background are going to take prominence here in just a second. We're going to talk about the road to 2022. The midterms are next year. No surprise to anybody. We're starting right now with Virginia. And we are actually using Virginia as a way to help retrain and train, actually, for the first time, some of our new staff members, our new volunteer leads, and our overall community that's ready to go again, or ready to go for the first time in this important work that we do. And then we're going to talk about our 7th state. We've got, last year we did 20 plus states. I think in 2018, we did 12 states. And normally we kind of jump all over the place. And we decided that we're going to focus all of our energy every single year on these core states, and then expand as we need to, when we need to. But up until now, we'd chosen 6 states, and we just landed on our 7th. And Hiba's going to talk you through that 7th state. And then we've got some Common Power team updates that we're really excited about. A lot of growth and evolution happening here at CP. And it's a wonderful thing to see it happen. I feel like I am a dad, but I feel like a different kind of dad when I see folks move through the organization and then on to better things. So David, you ready to go? Let's do it.
Got it. Okay. You already, Maggie,
keep it here.
Exercise me, Maggie, you threw me out already. Let's move forward to the next slide. I'm like,
no, you can just go back to the Virginia slide, to the agenda slide.
Not me.
Yeah, I have to own up to that. I'm the one who's pushing people in and out here.
Just go back to the agenda slide. We actually forgot to have a David slide in here. So David, go ahead, man.
Okay, so my update here is about the status of legislation in Congress around voting rights. We know that there's the For the People Act, and what's the status on that? So I want to give an update on that. And then soon to be is going to be the HR 4 John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act coming soon. So here's my update. No slides, just an update. There's really 3 phases to hoping that we can get voting rights legislation passed through this US Senate. We know the House can get it done. So it's about the Senate. There's 3 phases to the Senate. The first is a phase that we've spent several months in, from really the passage in late February, early March by the House of the For the People Act. From that point through late June, there was a push to get all of the Democrats in the Senate, all the Democratic members of the Senate, on the same page for voting for some kind of voting legislation. And that was not a foregone conclusion. That was going to take pressuring Democratic senators to all be on the same page. Obviously, most prominently Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, but not only them, also like a Jeannie Shaheen of New Hampshire, Mark Kelly from Arizona, a Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada. So we did that work. We pushed and pushed and pushed, and eventually they all did find common ground, and they all voted to advance and begin debate on the For the People Act. But without 10 Republicans to support it, we couldn't overcome the filibuster, so the debate did not begin. After that, but phase 1 was getting all the Democrats on the same page. That was not foregone, and we pushed to make that happen. Also in phase 1, we did a lot of work in the 3 states of Georgia, Arizona, and Texas to help try to block really bad voting rights legislation. And we were successful in Georgia and in Arizona to make it less horrible. And then in Texas, the Democrats walked out. They walked out again. And there's a new special session coming in starting on Monday that the Democrats are going to have to walk out on again. So we're helping to sustain that at the state level through our calling of voters who then contact their state legislators and say, thank you so much, thank you. But phase 1 on the national level is to get the Democrats on the same page. You can't move to phase 2 without success in phase 1. We got that done. Joe Manchin and others found a compromise, and they are rewriting that compromise right now, and they're about to introduce an updated version of the bill, okay? That updated version is likely going to involve a provision that would stop what's called election subversion, which is the ability of legislators to overthrow the results of their voters. That's a really big deal. The previous For the People Act did not have that because no one thought of that in the same way. So this new bill is going to have that, and that's going to pressure Republicans on this. Are we going to get to 10 Republicans? Probably. No, we're not. But are we going to get maybe a couple? Maybe. Okay, maybe. So phase 2 is this new bill. Phase 2. And the key thing in phase 2 is not our work of contacting voters and asking them to contact their legislators. The key work now is large organizations putting money to running advertisements and to organizing protests and marches. All right. That's what's happening right now in this country. Very large ad campaigns and marches are occurring. And those are going to culminate in, or not culminate, but maybe come to a first head on August 28th in DC. We have put a little bit of money as an organization towards some organizations that are doing this work. It's not our primary lane, so we're taking a break, but we are supporting through some of our funds, some of those organizations. I want to show you one advertisement that just dropped today. Okay, it just started running today nationally. All right, so I'm gonna take over the screen share here for a second. Thanks. Just to run this ad, 30-second ad running in key battleground states around this country, trying to pressure senators, Republican senators, to consider this, the reality of voting rights, and also to pressure Democrats to end the filibuster. So here we go.
Voting rights and democracy. still under assault. Our best defense? Passing the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. But one thing stands in our way.
Senators who will use the filibuster to keep the majority of people from even voting. And certainly they wouldn't want the majority of people to vote because they know they do not represent the majority of the American people.
President Biden, please tell the Senate, reform the filibuster. Everything is at stake.
Dude.
Voting rights and democracy. Still
MLK. Having MLK say that to them, holy moly, it's a big deal.
Now, to just to get down in the weeds as a professor a little bit, the way that ad ends, it says, tell Joe Biden how to do this, because the laws of campaign finance say that you can spend unlimited dollars where you're trying to send messages to candidates, as long as you're not advocating for an election win. That's like down in the weeds stuff, but you can spend unlimited dollars just telling politicians what you want. So that message is to Joe Biden, but that message really is to Joe Biden and all these Democratic senators to end the filibuster. That'd be really great if they'd end the filibuster. I don't think it's going to happen. But phase 2 is the Democrats figuring out what the hell they think they're going to do. How are they going to pass this legislation? Phase 1 was getting them on the same page. Phase 2 is what they're going to do. We're going to find out in the next 6 weeks what they're going to do. And Terry, you nailed it. What's coming down the pike in 2 weeks is redistricting in all of these states. And that's going to elevate all of this. Phase 3 will be fall. It will be a strategy by the Democrats, hopefully, merged with phase 3 redistricting. We may re-enter the advocacy work at that point in time. We may, okay? So I just want you to know that we're paying a lot of attention to this, completely obsessed and focused on this. But this is where I'm going to end. The work at the states remains our primary body of work in states. It is a state like Virginia, with the leadership of New Virginia Majority, that passed the very first state level Voting Rights Act in any Southern former Confederacy state. And it is the most comprehensive Voting Rights Act at the state level in any state in this country. All right. So we will continue to keep our eyes on the ball by working with partner organizations at the state level. So we're not moving away from, we're not giving up on national stuff, but we can make a difference. We have, over the last 3 years, made a difference at the state level. So we're staying focused there. All right, Charles, I'm done.
I love it. Good message, man. And it, I don't know if you were on vacation or something last time, but you can't miss these, man. We really need you. That was good. It's so good to start with that educational piece. It is core to who we are at CP, education, and you are really passionate about following that. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. So, I mean, he mentioned New Virginia Majority. He mentioned Virginia, the work they're doing there. We're going to like skip past the high level strategy piece on Virginia, because we're saving that. We're actually saving that for the 16th. Mark your calendars. On the 16th of this month, we are actually going to have the executive director of New Virginia Majority come in and talk about exactly what David's talking about the Voting Rights Act, about what they're doing at the state level, about how that's an example for other states, especially southern states, and that kind of book that they're writing is one that other folks are going to follow. So Tram Newing is going to be in on the 16th. That's a Monday, 5 p.m. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Hibba. Hibba's going to be running that one. So excited for one of her first big things that she gets to run. But today we're going to talk pretty tactically here to Maya and Meredith. Maya first, about CP, what we did before, what we're going to do again here in the future. Let's go to the next slide, actually, because this is what we did before, right? You got Mary knocking on doors there at the top. You've got us with what key candidate there? Oh, I forget her name.
That's Ghazala Hashmi.
Ghazala Hashmi, that's right.
Yeah, and she was actually one of the people I was going to talk about.
Oh, sweet. Okay, very cool, very cool. And she made it our way. And that was right after we were chanting her name. and the victory party, which is more of that in the bottom left. And then the bottom right is another candidate that we got elected. I think the first Muslim American one elected to.
Oh, that's Ghazala. Actually, that's
Ghazala.
Talking about. Yeah, that's
Oh,
Ghazala.
sorry.
I'm trying to see who's in. Oh, you have a picture of Buta Biberai.
That's right.
We're also going to talk about.
I should have just had somebody unmute and yell her name out, because there's probably somebody's here that's in one of these pictures. Mary, I know Mary's here for sure. But Maya, how's it going? It's good to see you again. Do you need us to come back, or are you good?
So Charles, you know this, but every time you or Maggie or anyone reaches out and says, hey, y'all need some help in Virginia, we say yes, right? Like, and it's not like, oh, it'd be fun to have you here. We say like, yes, please, all hands on deck. We need you. And one of the things I was gonna, talk about, and you have these great pictures, is like, you all were so key to some of the most incredible and important wins in 2019. And I know many of you on this call, like there are some of you that were in Virginia with us. And I'm sure everyone's followed like what's happened in Virginia. But that was like an incredible year. And some of the races that you all knocked on were, Ghazala Hashmi, the first Muslim elected to Virginia Senate. Buta Biberai, who is a Commonwealth's attorney in Loudoun County. That's our prosecutor. And those were the very first reform prosecutor races that our organization even got involved in. And y'all helped actually elect a reform prosecutor who has really stood up in what is not long ago a pretty conservative county to stand up and advocate for criminal justice reform at a local level. You all, and also in Loudoun County, the doors you knocked helped elect the first African-American woman chair of the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors. I mean, those are some of the most amazing wins. And I think there are a ton of people who didn't think that was possible in their lifetimes in Virginia. And you played a huge role in electing some of the most diverse elected officials we have ever seen. And so we would absolutely love to have you back. Totally. Anyone wants to come, we need you. We actually really do.
Well, and one of the people that helped lead that charge, and she's in the, it's the bottom left there of that picture in the bottom left is Maggie. And Maggie helped to connect with you all, to build a relationship, to add capacity herself. Maggie was on a laptop and she had spreadsheets open up in Chantilly during the key moments of our team being up there. And so Maggie, do you want to jump in here and take us through, because that was the look back, but the look forward is pretty exciting, building on our work.
Yeah, and thanks, Maya and Meredith, for being here. For people that are new, Maya, would you give us just a little background about New Virginia Majority, just a little bit, and then your role, because you're the political director. So just to introduce yourself, because we kind of just jumped in.
Yeah, so thank you for that. New Virginia Majority, we were founded in 2007, so it's been a while. But we were founded because out of some local organizing. And it was really the failure to pass comprehensive federal immigration reform that made us realize that we had to create something on the ground that could help protect our families. So, I mean, that was the initial, the first intent. We wanted to start advocating in a bigger way at the state level. And as we organized we realized that, it wasn't just on immigration reform. Our Virginia families needed a lot of things, and we needed to create a lot of change. And so we really expanded into, and I will say we have a huge issue platform. There are a lot of things: criminal justice reform, environmental justice, and voting rights, and healthcare. And so there, we advocate for a lot of things. Around 2015, as we'd been organizing for several years already, one of the things that had come up over many years was that a lot of the communities we were organizing in actually couldn't vote. They had lost their voting rights. They were former felons, and they wanted to be engaged in making change for their families and for themselves. But the restoration of rights process in Virginia was incredibly cumbersome. It was just not easy. And so we did start really advocating on that. And that's really how we started building out our political program, because we also realized that, if we wanted to change things in Virginia, we also had to get really deeply involved in the electoral process. Since 2015, we have registered over 250,000 voters, and you all have helped us do this. We've knocked on over 3 million doors in Virginia, and we believe that our electorate and the people who can vote should be diverse. We always believe in an expanded electorate, making sure that people of color and Black Virginians have an opportunity to be invited into the process. So that's a bit about us. It's sort of a very short summary, because we have this a lot of different things we've worked on over many years. So I am the political director. I started here after spending some time in organized labor, also working in public libraries. So I have all these different things, but now I'm a political director, and I oversee all of our political programs, whether it's like our nonpartisan, our voter registration work, getting people to vote for the very first time, to talking to Virginians about who to vote for and who's our best chance to move a good working families agenda forward.
That's awesome. Thanks for the background. Okay, so can you tell us what's your feeling right now about the upcoming elections, so that the rest of it flipped blue, and that can feel very promising, but I think those were hard won and might be hard to keep. So could you tell us a little bit about what's at stake right now, and kind of what you're excited about, who to fight for, which the people that you've endorsed?
Yeah, so we have endorsed, we've actually endorsed in the gubernatorial race, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and we've so far endorsed 9 House of Delegates candidates, and some of them are incumbents. And we have a handful of new candidates. We will be endorsing, I've been assured by our board, we will be endorsing, I think, at least 10 more delegates. So it's a big list of candidates this year. I'll just be honest with all of you, I'm worried. And that's tough to say. And I'm super excited to be here, and I'm happy that y'all are here. I don't want to make anyone sad, but this year's hard. And I think it's really hard for a lot of reasons. We're still not sure where we are in the pandemic. I think a lot of this general feeling around, for a lot of folks. I think that a lot of voters are really tired. We had, and all of us really went through it in this last year, not just the pandemic, but obviously, last year's elections. And we're talking to voters who aren't really sure if they really want to get engaged anymore. Last year was really, really hard on a lot of people. And then I think too, it's harder and harder to reach certain sets of voters. And we've seen this over the past year. People who might have answered the door are no longer answering the door. People who might have answered the phone or were tired from last year, they got too many phone calls, they're not answering the phone anymore. And so we're doing our very best to get people out, to get people excited, and realizing that there's a really, really important election this year. I don't think, even though we flipped and people call Virginia blue all the time, I still just, in my gut, I call us purple. I don't think that we're all the way there. I hear people say things like, if I'll vote for a Democrat for governor, I don't want the legislature to also be Democrats. I want to see a balance, right? And I'm afraid that this year we lose our trifecta. Like, I'll be honest. And that's why I say that this is, it really is an all hands on deck kind of year. Like every knock, every voter we talk to is really, really important to maintaining that. The other thing I should say is, for New Virginia Majority, this isn't about electing Democrats. It's not about keeping Virginia blue in that way. But the Democratic Party and ensuring that we have the House and the Senate and the governor's seat is the only way to protect so many of those big wins. The Virginia Voting Rights Act, driver's licenses for immigrants, paid leave for care workers, Medicaid expansion, environmental protections, all of the most amazing things that we were able to pass in the last 2 years, in the last 2 legislative sessions since we flipped. We could lose some of them if we don't maintain this trifecta.
Okay, we're coming. We'll help. You've convinced me. Thank you so much, Maya. Well, and Meredith is here too. So Meredith, do you mind introducing yourself and maybe to the kind of positive, what we can do, what you're thinking for the door knock plan and remote work, which we're going to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Maya mentioned, we've endorsed in the statewide, our statewide, 3 top statewide candidates. We've endorsed 9 House delegates so far, with more to come. What she didn't say is that for New Virginia Majority, when we endorse, that means explicitly that we will be doing work. We will be contacting voters in a district. Our endorsement doesn't mean just like, people use our logo and for people that we really like. There are lots of people we like, but that doesn't mean we endorse them. So that means that Maya told me recently, she said it on a call with a bunch of political staff who then shut off their cameras after she said the number, that she is thinking that between the end of August and the election, we're going to have 1 million voter contact attempts. And so that's going to be across Virginia. But yeah, so we definitely need you. So we're going to be phone banking. We are going to be phone banking into these House districts. We have folks in Northern Virginia. We have folks in Richmond. We have folks in Hampton Roads. And we will be canvassing in Northern Virginia and Richmond and in Hampton Roads. And we've got a mix of incumbents who are really great, but they're in competitive seats. And we've got some new challengers. We've got some young women, some women of color. We've got some really dynamic candidates that we're really excited about. So yeah, we will be doing a lot of phone banking and canvassing and just hitting the doors wherever and whenever we can get people signed up. And I will echo what Maya said, what we've been hearing a lot of. There's been a lot of apathy. We saw that in the primary, and people are tired. And so truly, whenever I get an email from Maggie or Charles, I'm so excited because you all always bring so much enthusiasm, and it is energizing for us and it's energizing for our staff, and it's energizing for whatever candidates you talk to. So it's just such a boost for us, not just in the work that you're doing, which is wonderful, and we so appreciate it, but in your passion and your willingness to help us out. It just truly, whenever you all call, I text Maya and I'm like, oh my God, Maggie emails. Oh my God. Charles is coming through Richmond. Charles and David are coming through Richmond, and I'm having coffee right now.
That's right. We showed up. We did the RV trip, and we showed up, and you met us out there.
Yes, it was the best thing that happened during the pandemic.
It was very cool for us too. Also, Meredith in the summer is like one of the coolest people to just sit with. She looks so cool. I felt like I was like with a Richmond celebrity. She looks super cool. You just looked so damn. And I was wearing my RV clothes. It was a shame. But I want to say that the piece that you're speaking to, you gotta take that compliment. the piece you're speaking to that I think is increasingly unique to CP. And I think David and I talked about this in the formation of CP and its current iteration, and it was just an idea, and it's been proven over time. That phrase, if not us, then who? And people throw that around. They really do, and it works in pieces. I will tell you, there are people I'm looking at right now on this Zoom that have gone to phone banks, and they've gone to interact with partner organizations like you, or they've been on the ground with us before. And when we are doing this work, when we're in these Zoom rooms, when we're making these calls, there aren't 5-10 other orgs with the same number of people there. Sometimes it's just us. And sometimes it's just CP showing up in the way that we show up. And so now it really is like, it does feel like if we don't show up for you all this fall, then who will? And that is an open question. If you, the people listening right now, don't decide to join a phone bank for New Virginia Majority this fall, or take a trip with us this fall, then who's going to do it? That person knocking on that door in the middle is Mary. Okay. And that I took this picture, and Mary was going around this cul-de-sac, and she wanted to finish her list. Because there's one thing about CP, when we do a turf, we do a damn turf, the whole thing. Okay. We do the whole damn turf. Doesn't matter if we're hungry or it's dark or whatever. And I think I had to raise the lighting on this because it was dark, and she wanted to have these like last few conversations. Okay. And she understood that if she left that door for somebody else, someone else wasn't going to come. This is like the day of the election, the day before or something. This gentleman here may not have been talked to. That's a vote right there. And she understood that. So that's what we bring. You're right. We do bring that. We bring that, and we're going to bring it again this year. We're excited to bring it. I don't need it to be all positive. Maya, you telling us the red hot truth is exactly what we need right now. And we are fired up and ready to go. Okay. David's over there doing dances and stuff and adjusting his bookshelf because he's ready to hop on a plane today.
Can I share a quick story? This is actually really positive. But when you ask me what's at stake, the thing that I think about all the time, and of course the Voting Rights Act, right? But when I first moved here, I moved here to Virginia from Arizona. And the first time I registered to vote, there were things about the voter registration form that even from Arizona, right? Like, we're talking about Arizona, and there were a lot of folks who were like, Arizona is like the worst. You're going to a better place. And but I filled out my voter registration form, and there were fields on there that I had never filled out before. Like, it was hard. It was weird. And it was not as easy as Arizona. And then I went to vote for the first time in Virginia. And I had to vote absentee because obviously I always work election day. And there was a form to fill out that I had to provide excuses on how to vote and why and all the different things. And it was so weird. And it was hard. It was actually really hard to vote. And since I've come to Virginia, we have gotten rid of the necessity to provide an excuse to be able to vote absentee. So now we can vote absentee with no excuse. We have a 45-day early voting period. We can get a ballot by mail without a big giant excuse. We just, fill out a request for it. It's easy to vote now, and it should be. And it's such an incredible change. And I think for me, just personally, and obviously for my kid who painted that picture, and for a lot of people, like that's why I do this work. And that's why this is worth protecting. Our trifecta is worth protecting. And also why I appreciate all of your support. Because I think Charles is right. If it's not you all, we're not sure all the, I don't know who else comes through for us in the same way that you all do. So I just appreciate you all.
Thank you.
I'm going to add, hold on,
Sure.
Charles. I'm going to add that it's not since Maya came to Virginia. It's since you all came to Virginia in 2019, because all of those changes happened after we took control. Those are all those are all bills that we've been fighting for years, but they were not passed until we had the Democratic control of the trifecta. Those are all new changes. So
Okay.
expanding the democracy, we've made massive steps forward, but in order to protect them, we need y'all.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, we're going to have some new team leads, but Maggie and AJ were pretty awesome team leads. Maggie obviously accepted a job with us. She loved it so much. AJ does education now, but AJ is going back to knock on doors in Virginia. She talks about it all the time. She's super excited to be able to go back and knock on doors. In fact, at the end of this, she's going to take a bunch of questions about her experience knocking on doors in Virginia. She loved it so much. I expected her to unmute there, right there. Didn't you, Maggie? You expected her to.
Where is she?
I was like, where? She must be on mute. Anyways, we're going to tell you exactly how to get involved with this next slide. Maggie's going to power through this. All of this is on our website. Maya and Meredith, you're going to see we were inspired by your colors here, and is the theme for like the fall push into the work in Virginia. All of our stuff is NVM inspired. So here we go.
And also Maya and Meredith, I know you're on East Coast time, so feel free to drop off. So we really appreciate you guys being here, and we're excited to see you guys again in Tram and maybe some candidates on August 16th. So
Totally, thank you.
We will definitely have candidates. I actually am going to hop off, but I will share with you why this is a super great day. My parents, who I haven't seen in almost 2 years because of the pandemic, got here this afternoon and they're visiting with us. And I'm like really glad to be with you all, but I am going to just go hang out with my mom and dad.
You should go fast.
That is so meaningful that you gave us some time. Thank you.
Thank you for doing
Maya.
that. We really
I
appreciate it.
you all. Thanks. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye. Okay, the road to 2022. Took me a minute to read that. Okay, can you go to the next slide, Hiba? We're going to talk a little bit about what that's going to look like for the next 2 months and how to get involved. So first is next week, David is doing a lecture. And let's see, we need to put some of these in the chat. Hiba, do you mind taking those, putting those sign up links in the chat? I think they're in the agenda, but David's doing a lecture, 14 months, 7 states, 1 mission. That's next Monday at 5 p.m. The next thing that you're going to see is what we've been talking about live from Virginia, to have Tram come back, the co-executive director of New Virginia Majority. And we're also going to have several candidates who are running for the House of Delegates, most likely, who will come talk to us. So they're people that we could potentially be calling for or knocking doors for. So you'll hear from them. The next thing, if I remember, okay, is the State Teams Fair. So this is happening on September 8th at 6 p.m. Pacific. This is going to be an in-person and virtual event, but it's our first really big in-person event. It's going to be outdoors in Seattle. It's likely going to be at the Mohai, but we're working on the exact details. There will be food. There will be state team leads there to talk about the 7 states, to do some pitches about why it's exciting to join us. And so it's a really good opportunity to come back and be in community safely and to talk about what's coming up in the fall and then heading into 2022. So we have a registration link for that we'll put in the chat in a minute. We'd love to have you join us for that. The next thing is we are going to be starting weekly intro to CPs. We had those going all through 2022. We're going to start those again. So if you have anybody who's interested in CP or if you just want a refresher, you can come to that. And then HIBA is going to be starting volunteer 101s in September, where it'll be some training on reminders on how to phone bank, how to door knock, just kind of getting back in the mindset of doing this work in the field. Then the big travel opportunities will be for Team Virginia. We're taking 2 trips. The first one is going to be September 30th to October 4th. So that's a Thursday to a Monday, I believe. And then October 30th to November 3rd. So that's actually over Election Day. We will, for both of those trips, will likely be in Northern Virginia. So flying into DC, that would be our plan as of now. And we're working on getting team leads for that team. And there will be more to come. And there's a sign up form that we'll share also for that. So that's really how we're ramping up for the latter half of 2021. And then the last thing is we'll probably take a little bit of a break over the holiday time, but we'll have all of our 7 teams formed by then. And then we'll be kind of hitting the ground running with voter registration. All the things that we did in 2020, we'll be doing that in 2022, heading into the midterms. Anything I missed, Hiba or Charles, that you would add?
No, everything is on the events page. So this is just to tell you there's a lot of stuff going on, not for you to like absorb every single thing on this page. If you click on that last link I sent, or just go to Common Power, click on the events tab, everything is in there. It's all about orange and bluish here. It's all there. It's all there and more as we think about these things. So that's Virginia. Super excited about doing that work. I'm excited to get on the ground again. This is not something that we've mentioned, but we are keeping tabs on the vaccination rate in Virginia, the COVID rate in Virginia, and to us it looks good still. Looks good to go. David and I actually we were on the phone with a medical professional a couple days ago and asked specifically about Virginia and a couple other states. Virginia, we feel really good about today. We still feel good about it. So we're going to Virginia, and you'll see more about that in the newsletter that we send out every week here. Okay, let's jump into the 7th state. Can we do it in 5 minutes?
Oh, less. Before I get started though, thank you, Charles, for dropping all of the links in the chat. Huge shout out for your help on that. I want to drop one more link in the chat, which is just a fun poll for people to fill out about why you're excited about Virginia. So as we're chatting here, please take time to fill this out. We're just interested in your thoughts, and hopefully we'll glean some good information and generate some excitement out of this. So our 7th state, I know a lot of folks have been eagerly awaiting this decision. And before I jump into it, I just want to preface with a couple of things. The first is we had narrowed it down to a pool of 5 states, and each one of these states met the criteria of a state that would give us an opportunity to do a lot of good work, win immediate elections, and also help build for the long-term infrastructure in that state. It's also a state that has, all of them had positive cultural histories and things that we could do while there, taking into account the fact that when we travel to these states, yes, we door knock, but we also get to experience the culture and the history and plan learning tours there as well. So all of these states met that criteria, and the one that ended up edging out the rest through conversations with staff and some other folks as well, ended up being, drum roll, 2 drum rolls, South Carolina. So I'm going to run through this really quickly to give you some background on how we ended up at this decision. So the first thing is South Carolina has some exciting recent history and upcoming elections. So the first I'll name is Jamie Harrison's 2020 Senate race. It was a pretty close race, right? For South Carolina, he put up a really good run against Lindsey Graham. And so I think that sets a good tone for where we're going. I want to specifically name Congressional District number 1, because I think it also gives us some insight into what is happening in South Carolina. For 40 years, it was re-electing Democrats until 2018 when it 40 years since they elected a Democrat, until 2018 when they did elect a Democrat. So we went from red to blue, and actually last year they elected a Republican again. So there are a number of districts like this within South Carolina where we're seeing some flippability, some flip-flopping back and forth that makes it an exciting opportunity. The last thing I want to name here is that they have their first Black gubernatorial candidate this year. She's a state senator, Mia McLeod, and I think she's amazing. She has a really good chance of making a strong bid for governor, and that is exciting. The history and culture. I'm sure I don't have to say it out loud, but a lot of Civil War history and civil rights history as well, which would make for an exciting trip. Shout out to AJ during our discussions for naming Robert Smalls as an important historical figure that we should be talking about more and learning about. And he's from South Carolina. So we'll get that opportunity in learning about South Carolina to hear more about his story and his journey to freedom as an enslaved.
AJ would love to talk about Robert Smalls any day of the week. And the after credits to this event, she would love to address Robert Smalls if you want to hear a short version of the story.
Absolutely, that'd be great. Also taking into account the volunteer experience. So as you can see from the US map on the left here, 4 of our states are right on top of each other. And I know in the past, some volunteers have enjoyed going state to state during our trips. And so assuming that travel is safe and assured, that will make it a lot easier for folks to go through all 4 of these states to volunteer and door knock. Also great weather. I mean, if you've ever knock doors in the wintertime in the Midwest or in the North, you know that is a very important factor in considering a lot of our options here. And the last thing, again, shout out to AJ for mentioning this, award-winning barbecue. So again, we're here to knock doors. We're there to experience things as well as we make a difference. An award-winning barbecue is definitely something, at least I'm interested in experiencing. So that was part of the consideration, and that is the end of my slide, but if folks have questions, I'll be around afterwards so we can discuss this more.
Hey, Heba, this is David. I want to add one little piece. And when you look at that map, the state of Georgia was the only state in the last election that went blue that was not contiguous to another blue state. Okay, it's the only one. We need to build that bridge between Virginia and Georgia if we want to hold those places. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you, David. Great. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back.
Okay, so let's jump to the next slide. What do we want you to do? Sign up for Team Virginia Travel. Said that already. Head to the website. It should be right there on the homepage. If not, it's up above. By now, you know all the markers on the website. All of our stuff is right there as soon as you land. Mark your calendars for these important events. Monday, David's lecture. The following Monday, we're going to have Tram come in from New Virginia Majority, along with some elected officials. And then September 8th is the big state teams fair. Hiba's got some fun stuff. I think some booths are involved, maybe some music. I heard that someone's bringing some music, maybe a little food. We'll see. We're also going to have a virtual component to that too. The last one we did that was on the rooftop of our office was super successful, and having like a concurrent Zoom that ran as well. We are not giving up on folks who cannot be there in person or maybe don't feel like it's safe enough yet. Totally fine. We built that strength up during the pandemic, and we're not going to let it go. And then think about your state for the 2022 midterms. Where do you want to do work? Maybe you want to do work in Virginia, and then you also want to do work in other states as we kind of wrap around the corner to the next year. Yeah, we need all of you, and Virginia needs you right now. Okay, we got 6 minutes here. And David, I know you're looking at the clock. David, I have another meeting right after this. We're squeezing it in. I go on a little family vacation tonight. We're flying out. So David's like, okay, we're going to have all the meetings right before you go out. So this last piece, and it's not last because it's the least, and it's not last because it's not the least amount of time on the agenda because we don't care about it. This is a big part. We actually made room for this on the agenda today because our people mean so much to us. You all mean so much to us. Our staff means a ton to us, and we're having some changes, some exciting things. HIBA obviously was one of the first big new changes. This is a screenshot. I don't think staff knew that I took this screenshot. There's a screenshot of a pretty important meeting, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But you'll notice there's two faces there that are brand spanking new. You got Sasha, that's on the second row down, all the way to the left there, and then you got Julia, who's I guess center right, second row down. I don't have a pointer here. This is like where being in person is different. I would just like put my finger up there. But these are two brand new staff members. Sasha joins us from our relationship with UW, where we got a ton of our great Action Academy students. Sasha sent us a bunch of these great students and realized that she maybe wants to come join us, and she did. And Julia is one of those former Action Academy students who's now joining us to work with David. So let's let David go first. David, tell us about Julia.
Now, Julia can do that.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia G. I am the new Donor Engagement Coordinator for Common Power. I recently graduated from UW just this June with a Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, but I have been with Common Power for the past year. It's actually right about the anniversary of my joining Common Power as an Action Academy student. After Action Academy, I realized that I just wanted more. So I stayed on for the Georgia postcards effort. And then I went on to be a crew lead for the next two Action Academy cohorts. And then I graduated. And then once again, I was like, I want more. And now I am a full-time staff member at CP as the Donor Engagement Coordinator. So I hope to have conversations with you all one-on-one soon. And I look forward to getting to know everyone. So thank you.
Love it. Love it. And Julia and David are going to be running our intro workshops. So if you're fairly new to CP and maybe you've been coming to some of these things and you're like, man, I love this org and the work they do is really good. Also, no one's ever given me like the intro to any of this. Come to this intro workshop, meet Julia, talk to David, ask how this whole thing started. Ask, kind of where you should get started. When's the first one, David? 19th? No.
The 16th.
16th
will be our first intro workshop. It's from noon to 1 p.m. It's on our events calendar. So please pop in. I would love to get
Very
to
good. Very good. See, I'm going to get used to this. Stop asking David stuff.
Exactly. Just replace my name, Charles, with Julia. You got it? Okay.
That's it. Julie, you're doing the next update on national politics next month.
Lecture.
Okay.
She's doing a lecture on Monday.
Monday lecture. Julia G. And okay, so Action Academy is amazing. It's got these amazing students, and one of the reasons why it is because Larcy's really good at making relationships with great people who bring us more great people, and one of those great people is Sasha Lee. Larcy, I don't know if you want to introduce her. I know you got the baby, or maybe Sasha can just speak. It's up to y'all.
Hey, I can speak then. Hi, everyone. It's so wonderful to get to know everyone. If you can't tell, it's pretty dark in here because I am also on the East Coast. So it's good to know that there are other people operating on the same time frame. But hi, everyone. I'm Sasha. I am the new Senior Education Program Manager, and I'm so excited to be here. I got to know CP through a friend. I was recommended this organization to get involved locally in terms of civics. And so I actually met Larcy when we were all just like, okay, turn to the person to your left and just say hi, check in on people. And Larcy was sitting there. I think she was about ready to pop. I think she was very, very pregnant at the time. And she and I just had a really good conversation about getting involved and, you know, making community when we think about civics and thinking about voting. And so she and I ended up having this very like blossoming relationship where we got to know each other personally, but also through this work. And I think every time I hopped on a call with Larcy, I just so believed in everything that she was saying, everything that CP was doing. I was an academic advisor at UW at the time, and I was more than happy to shepherd students into the Action Academy program. But when I transitioned out of UW, I was so ecstatic to be offered the opportunity to continue sort of the education legacy within Action Academy and then CP more broadly. So I'm so excited to get involved with education, like with AJ, but then also do work on the ground and then get to know everybody in the community. I know I'm on the East Coast, but I will be coming to Seattle a couple times a year to meet people, to say hi, and to really engage personally. I'm just really excited and happy to be here.
Thanks so much, Sasha. We totally welcome you. I am so happy that she's here. She's going to help expand CP Future programming, help expand Action Academy curriculum. She's already started really hitting the ground running. She brings with us the educational element that we needed support in, but also students from, you know, the LSJ, the Law and Societies and Justice school. And so they already come with a political lens and want to get involved. So she is going to rock it in this position. I'm so happy to have her here and really just excited to grow CP Future and grow Action Academy programming with her.
Love that. That's so awesome. Larcy and I did a baby switch.
Did he freeze?
I think he did. Yes.
It's September.
Yeah.
September does it.
Mm-hmm.
Since Charles is frozen, I feel like this is karma telling me that I can now speak up for myself. But Charles is consistently picking on me. But also, I'm going to take the opportunity to plug David and I's lecture that's coming up pretty soon at the end of the month. As much as folks know, I am the let me introduce myself. Hi, folks. I'm AJ, for those of you who don't know me. I am the Director of Interactive History here at CP. I kind of do a lot of the education stuff along with David. And so for anyone who is going to be traveling with us, there's usually going to be an education component because we, as mostly majority Seattleites, need to understand the historical context of where we're going to be doing work, because a lot of the demographics that travel look like y'all and less like me. And so in order for us to cause the least amount of harm in those spaces, sometimes we got to get a little, you know, we got to get a little base foundation on the historical side.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Oh, look, he's back. See?
Am I back? Hey.
So, hey, how you doing?
Hey, there's AJ.
Hey, friend.
Look at you coming in exactly when you may not come when we want you, but you are always right on time.
You know, I know that this is you giving me compliments. I know the love is in there somewhere.
It is. It's full. I'm full of it. Let me say this one piece really quick about this image. Okay. This image is definitely about these two people. AJ, thank you for coming in, and we're going to give it right back to you in just a second. This image, though, is during a meeting where we actually said farewell to somebody. This is our most recent staff meeting, and we're actually saying farewell to Daniel Caseberg, who's going to go back actually to his previous job. They loved him so much. They saw what it was like for him to not be around, and they wanted him back. Daniel, I'm pretty sure Daniel's here, but we want to hear from
What's
you,
up,
man.
man?
We want to send you off. Hey, there he is. We want to send you off, man. We spent that staff meeting. The reason why he has that face and that picture is because we went around and we said all kinds of great things about him, and he was just super embarrassed. But it was really meaningful to us. It was super important that happened. It's significant that he was with us, and it's significant that he's moving on. And we want to give him a moment here.
Charles, can you see and hear me? Okay, good.
Yep.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, it was a thoroughly sweet and embarrassing staff meeting the other day when we all took turns doing that. That was really nice. I know there's a lot of folks on this call. I really wish that I had the opportunity to say farewell in person, but we'll obviously, of course, have the chance to see each other again, whether that is, in Virginia, not door knocking something in Washington or otherwise. I just want to take a quick, very brief moment just to say thank you to everybody who I've had the opportunity to work with, come across and learn more from, for welcoming me into this community, making me feel right at home. Really grateful for this entire experience and preparing me not just to take on, this next stage of my career, but really enriching my life over the last 1.5 to 2 years. 2 years now since I first met with David to talk about being a state team lead. So it's a profound thank you, and absolutely we'll continue to do good work together, just in a different capacity. So I will try. Feel free. Anybody can reach out to me at any point. Just shoot me an email. Probably lots of you have my number. Feel free to shoot me a text. But thank you all very, very much. I'm here till the 16th, by the way.
Yes. And also after that, because as you alluded to there, you're actually getting a promotion. You're getting promoted to volunteer, and you're not going to disappear completely. You're going to be around. You're going to be teaching folks about Mobilize a little bit. Maybe we're going to convince. I think he committed to being a team lead during that staff meeting when we gave him all that praise, right? Hibba has that recorded, and Hibba needs team leads. So, Daniel, man, it's been great to have you. No better team supporter than Daniel Caseberg. Wonderful ally. I want to just say this plainly. Daniel is a white man. And the way that Daniel's shown up in a space with majority BIPOC staff members has been exemplary. And I don't want to put you out there as like a tutorial for people or for them to come to you and ask you how they can be a better ally. But you've not been on this earth for a ton of years, man, but you've kind of figured it out. And I really appreciate the way you show up as an ally, as a supporter, as a team member. And we're really going to miss you. We're going to miss you.
Appreciate it.
We're going to return to our regularly scheduled program. AJ Musewa is going to take over. I got to go. Thank you all. It's been good to see you as usual on our monthly community meeting. Come back next month, first Thursday of every month. AJ, tell us about this programming.
First and foremost, I would just like to tell y'all can get off the call. We are past time. Some of y'all are on the East Coast. Please feel free to do with your time what you want. The formal program is officially over, so y'all can head out if you want to. The link that I put in the chat is for a 3-part lecture that David and I are going to be doing at the end of this month. As always, I've said this many a times, we were not taught history accurately for many reasons, right? And so David and I are going to talk about some key moments that helped shift the civil rights movement. So the first lecture, which is going to be on that Monday, the 23rd of August, I believe. Yes. We're going to be talking about John Lewis's speech that he gave at the March on Washington. John Lewis was the youngest person to give a speech at the March on Washington, and he was the 6th person to speak out of 10. John Lewis's original speech was so radical that they had to rewrite it hours before he went to speak, and that the bishop who saw it the evening before said that he was not going to speak if the original speech that John Lewis gave was going to be approved. And so with A. Philip Randolph, Bayard Rustin, and a couple other really heavy hitters in the movement, they literally edited his speech right before he went on. So we're going to take a look at some of the language there, because I think sometimes when we think of John Lewis, we think of him being pretty chill, right? He's pretty, I wouldn't say docile, he got a little spice to him, but we don't think of John Lewis as this person who makes such big waves that then, you know, the whole community turns to him and is like, hey, John, you gotta calm down. So that's going to be the first one. The second one, David is going to kind of take a look at the civil rights movement from the political landscape of what was happening between 1963 to 1965. A lot of really major things happened in that span of time. We got the Voting Rights Act and we got the Civil Rights Act in 64 and 65. And to have legislation that is that kind of catalyzing and specific to Black and Brown lives within 2 years of each other is insane, because we know how difficult it is to pass damn near anything right now. So David is going to take a look at, he's going to walk us through kind of what was all happening politically in that moment that allowed these two things to happen, especially because Lyndon B. Johnson had a very interesting relationship with Martin Luther King and civil rights activists. So we're going to take a look at that. And then the final lecture, which will be on that Wednesday, we're going to look at my second favorite historical figure, Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and the speech that she gave at the Credentials Committee at the Atlantic City Democratic National Convention in 1964. Mrs. Hamer gave a absolutely brilliant, about 8 to 10 minute speech that basically she just told what happened to her when she decided to vote. So we're going to take a look at the impact of that, including what Freedom Summer was about, also what catalyzed the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, including the mock freedom vote that they did, in which 83,000 Black Mississippians participated, because of course there was a narrative that Black people didn't even want access to the ballot. And so this was both going to show the commitment that Black people had, because voting meant going in public, and there were a lot of white folks who did not want Black people to vote and used violence and death in order to dissuade them. So one, this freedom vote was going to prove to the country that Black Mississippians actually wanted the right to vote and access to the ballot, fair access. And if they did, they would show up in big numbers. And also it proved that the narrative around Black people wanting to vote was misconstrued by the powers that be. We'll also learn about the Dixiecrat, the Southern Democrats, who played a very interesting role. And kind of this is when we start to see the shift from the Democratic Party and what it was back then to what the Democratic Party is now. So we're going to look at all of that. I'm going to start studying that today and be ready by then. I mean, I have a bunch of stuff in my head, but all the information is on the website. I would love to see y'all there. I'll stay on with Hibba for a little bit in case folks have questions. I do actually very much so love Robert Smalls. There's like a poster of Robert Smalls in my living room. He just stares at me when I'm watching TV. But happy to answer any questions. Also for folks who are going to be going on the learning tour, we're getting the resource list ready. It's going to be amazing. And I'm happy to just share that resource list with folks, even if you're not traveling to Virginia. But as always, I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. I'm going to chill with Hibba for a little bit and then we'll go from there. And also,